click the links to join the channel here over at SubScribe now over at Odyssey. So the theology of Dune, this article goes on and on for pages, all about the various religious aspects to the story. See, you can read through this thinking, if you read the original series, you probably know that there's religion throughout the book, so it's pretty much a foundational aspect of the storyline. So it's kind of weird that someone would want to get rid of it. But if you think it's weird, then you don't understand the 300-pound soy boy. Dune, Awakening creative director, is removing religious elements and unfortunately promises an alternative timeline story for Dune adaptation. Oh, that's nice art. Dune, video game, but without the religious influence of Frank Herbert's Dune. So what these obese soy boys do, these panty-sniffing degenerate perverts, is take the name of a property and strip. And the thing is, they're never good looking. They're never in shape. Almost never. Very rare. These people are in shape. There's physiognomy is real. There really is something to that. So what they do is they take the name of a property, the bait and switch that you've seen over the past 10 years and that you're going to continue to see in the future. This is a one-way journey. Hollywood's not turning this around. It is going to be interesting to watch Hollywood in the next 5 years. They strip the nuance out of it. And then they remake it to fit in the worldview of a 300-pound soy-filled hunk of lard. Except that the nuance is obviously what made the story great. For all its, good stuff and bad stuff, it's part of the matrix or the melange that made up the story. Whether it's Lord of the Rings, which is a great example because Amazon's right in the middle of doing their thing now, Rings of Power, or Dune, so the modern corporate plastic fuck dolls buy the rights to it, and they keep the name, and then they insert Bolshevik propaganda to everything else, the standard stuff they do. I'm trying to avoid the hot words because YouTube's not happy. Because these are the soft men creating the hard times. The story of Dune was written and complete. Tell the story as it is, or don't tell it. But they can't do that because everything to them is just a tool to push their filthy propaganda. Diversity, feminism, anti-white, anti-family, and the new generation is watching these movies and playing the games, and they think that this is the thing itself. If it's also tiresome. But if you saw any one of these remakes, Disney Star Wars, you thought, this is Star Wars that their father watched, their parents watched. And no, this is not Star Wars. And you can go back and watch the original Star Wars. It holds up pretty decently. Or you can do that with anything. Like they think, this is Rings of Power. This is Lord of the Rings, huh? No. In no way is that Lord of the Rings, or is this going to be whatever it is, Dune. So what you're left with is this Weimar adaptation in moving images on the screen with nothing behind it. The best example of that is the Transformer series. I remember the Megan Fox running through the desert. It's just running through a CGI room, a green screen room. That's the whole scene, is everything in Transformers. And they made, 3, 4, 5 movies, something like that. They were fun movies for what they were, but it was just green screen movies with a lot of explosions behind them, and it sold globally because you didn't need to know the nuance in the language. You just saw people running around and robots, blasting each other, all CGI or green screen type of stuff. So it's just mental soy slop for the Coomer soy boys. It's like they took a carrot and all the nutrients it contains, and then they made some soy facsimile, coated in sugar and painted it orange, and called it the carrot updated for the modern low IQ Coomer consumer. The original story has got a mix of religious themes from a lot of different religions are thrown in there, and whether or not it made sense, that doesn't matter. That was the element. Those are the elements of the story that was part of the Matrix that made it so popular. I'm going to do another video, but I don't know if I can put it on YouTube, about the BLT themes they were using. When they remade it, they didn't have to change the BLT themes because you have the guy who's a little bit of a degenerate, and they decided to clean that up and change the whole vibe of it. And the other videos, I guess, can be on the other platforms, where you look at it and go, it's okay to look at the BLT stuff and view it negatively. If in your worldview it's a negative thing, that's okay. And I know to say that nowadays is this just politically correct, incorrect, how dare you suggest that a stability to a society is required for a long-term civilization? Well, I'll do that on Odyssey and SubScribestar. Anyways, so let me get to this recent interview with Eurogamer, the useful idiot, the fat soy boy, Joel Bylos, said they'll be telling their own version of events, and specifically said they'd be sidestepping religion. And yeah, they get absolutely sodomized on Twitter. Dune Awakening is a survival game in a subgenre of gaming, so to potentially alienate hardcore Dune fans, who are the type of people who are nerds with the lore, like Lord of the Rings, they're familiar, Dune even more so, they're familiar with the original storyline. So they're going to be the ones who are buying this, and if you're saying like you're removing one of the integral pieces to the puzzle, I'm not sure how they're going to enjoy this. So things are slightly different in our soy-filled pussy universe. Many events are still the same, so it's not like we've gone all thousands of years ago, Heisenberg principle of uncertainty type of stuff. Rocks slid into the wrong place and changed everything. It's just a few years back, but the significant thing, it's really close to spoiler territory. Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, God, I hate these people so much. I really can't go through it. Twist my arm. You're just going to have to buy the game. I hope nobody buys this game. But let's just say for the large part, we just sort of sidestep religion. Oh, why is that? And then if you go to Twitter, you can see that they just get bent over the coals by everyone saying, what's the point of the story? And oddly enough, you don't see a whole lot of soy boys coming to the defense of this. I'd click on that, but I think my comment might be up there, and I think it's a hate crime. So the novel Dune has... I lose those accounts just so often. The novel Dune has heavy influences taken from the actual real-world religion of... I think it's got all the Abrahamic religions. It's more than just Islam. And there are many references to the Middle East in the book with the language used. The language is from... There's Arabic phrases in there. There's Hebrew phrases in there. Religion's a fundamental part of their culture and the way of life. Yeah, honestly, just go back and read that first Dune book. It was a fantastic story that slowly builds, but is building fast enough to keep you on board. It just did an absolute... I went back and I read the prequels by Anderson, Kevin Anderson or something. I think him and the other guy wrote the prequels. And actually, Brian Herbert, I think it's the son. He wrote one book on his own that I have and I actually love. I think it's called The Quest for God. It's a science fiction comedy, but he does a really good job on it. So it's not as if the novels were simply reveling in the idea that religion was always a good thing that should never be questioned. The Dune series delved deep into it wasn't just Islam, it was various other themes, while also shining a light on the dangers of theocracy and how charismatic individuals can manipulate the faithful to their own ends. The Mary Sue is a long article about all the changes done for the story, and I read her article. I mean, it's like pages and pages, way longer than the Mary Sue article. I think she's, on the spectrum a little bit, the girl who wrote it, because she's very familiar with the original story and through all the changes, and a very carefully prepared article, which is not kind of something you see in clickbait media these days. And there's so many changes through the original story, which she clearly lays out. But the difference is, from her perspective, she goes, "Oh, of course these changes are good because it's feminism and it's inclusive and it's all this kind of Frankfurt School bullshit garbage." And I look at it from a different perspective. Go, this is all crap. Any deviation from the story is crap. Why are you doing this? Oh, because he wrote the story, I don't know, in the 70s or something. I don't know where he wrote it, and it's just xenophobic. No, it's not. Those are just Bolshevik globalist labeling terms to control the narrative. That's write the story as is, or retell the story as is. Can you do that? Like, no, that's a bridge too far for us. We're gonna make it inclusive. It's like, the thing is, and I know people like the movie, but it doesn't. They're wrong. If you like the movie, you're wrong for liking the movie. I found a point. Are you just gonna stretch out that 30 seconds? Yeah, I will. So the removing such a foundational piece of the Dune world building seems almost unjustifiable. Yeah, it is. I found a piece of the universe. Like, it was a really fun thing to go back to the Herberts and be like, hey, if this happened and this is the flow of consequences, so at this point, the Terry Pratchett trousers of time theory, things change. Are you okay with that? Because then I can kind of position everything. And it's a video game. I get that. And they were like, yeah, actually, that's great. And then you're not stepping on the lore. It's a video game. It doesn't matter. But as he says, so it'll suck. I mean, you know, if you accept crap like this, you're going to get more crap like this. The things you subsidize are the things you get more of, and you don't have to pay for this stuff. I mean, I know sailing the high seas for video games takes a little bit more work. It's not like for movies, but they're just telling the equivalent of it's just shiny images on a screen. It's just things exploding and worms in the background. It's like, hey, look, worms in the background. This is what's that Star Wars? Oh God, I'm trying to think of the Star Wars planet that Luke is on. I mean, obviously he was influenced from it. It's just shiny images and CGI and explosions, and it's just the worst. It's just the worst of video games. It's the worst of pop culture, where it bears no relation to the original source material because suddenly it's problematic for these bleeding vaginas. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I guess I'll do that other video on the on how bad the gays are in general for the story, or the retelling of it where they got rid of the that guy in the story. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on next episode.